recording. I am John Mercer, president of the Las Vegas Tri Club, and I've got Bob Gamble, our ambassador of the Tri Club. And we're here to talk with Rick. And Rick, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your last name. Please.
Don't even bother.
Give me your last name.
Stenehjem.
Stenehjem, right?
Yeah, you can practice that all week long. I don't think I'm pronouncing it right anymore. So.
Well,
by definition.
I'm going to enjoy this conversation tonight because you are a lot of fun to talk with, and there's been already some good banter on the Facebook page with you and some of the other members. And you know, I'll tell you, Rick's been part of the club and is very active on Facebook and a really great positive voice on Facebook. And I really wanted to have him on to let people get to know him a little bit more. And he always seems to be organizing rides and swims and stuff going on, and you know that's really great to do. So I'm looking forward to having a few laughs tonight with you as well.
Everybody loves a class clown.
But I'm going to let Bob do the official introduction, and then we'll get rolling.
No, we've already done it, John. First of all, that was a great introduction, and then second of all, we already had our conversation, so we can just wrap it up.
Yeah. Right? All right, we'll see you guys later.
No, so like John said, we have Rick Stenehjem tonight, and for those who don't know Rick, he's been in the club since 2017. He's been doing triathlon since 2016, and if you haven't had the pleasure of training or riding with Rick, you're missing out. He's got some of the best rides in the valley, and due to the fact that he works in Nellis Air Force Base, he has access to some really killer roads that are, you know, traffic free and some nice climbs. So, and you also go out to Paiute Reservation a while.
Indian Springs,
some great rides up there.
Yeah, so, we go up to 95. It's really nice.
Yeah. So we're gonna pick Rick's brains a little bit and talk about his rides and swims and things that we can get involved in with him. And Rick not only does the training rides, he was active last year. He did I'm pretty sure all but one of the club races. Pretty much a mainstay. Everybody knows Rick and looks for him at the beginning of the races. Oh. So good.
One or the other.
Say again?
Or runs from him.
Yeah. Everybody sees him and they can run.
Talk their ear off.
He's both a great guy and a great athlete. So we look forward to talking to him tonight. So just to get started, are you still riding? How has COVID and all these quarantine restrictions affected your training?
It sucks, you know.
Yeah.
Like everybody said, it's you know, everything's being canceled, and I was, like I told you guys earlier, you know, Chicago, that was on my, you know, would have been my first marathon, and you know, they canceled that finally recently. We anticipated it, but it was a dead zone for a while. And you know, I'm not a big fan of the virtual things. You know, I'm usually not, but honestly, it's really what kind of brought me back into it. And you know, when Dave and, you know, Ellsworth and some of the group, you know, they all decided, I think Christina, you know, we're all training partners, and she's like, hey, I'm going to do the 70.3 virtual. And I'm like, ew. And, you know, and then I thought about it. I'm like, well, why not? Let's give it a shot. And I went from 0 to running a half a marathon with Dave Ellsworth, and you know, just a lot of walking, but you know what? It got me back out. It was nice.
You know, there's something cool about the you know, the situation we're in right now. And I don't know if you've experienced it, but the pressure's kind of off. I saw a really good post. The guy said, yeah, well, the last Ironman is canceled for the year, so I'm going to go pop a cold one and enjoy a beer. You know, so the training has changed a little bit, maybe a little bit less, but you know, some people are still staying with it, but you're obviously staying with the training.
I'm just doing it like the running, like I told John earlier, the running is really what I'm focusing on right now. And it's probably a good thing because I really sucked at running, you know, since I've been doing triathlon. It's easy to suck at it when it's the last event you do and you're tired, you know, but I'm, you know, my goal still right now is to do at least a half and not stop running during the 13.1. And I just seem to, you know, die a lot of too much walking, and you know, I'm in my head, I'm thinking 2 hours, 15-minute half. And while I'm running, I'm like, yeah, I don't like my ideas. I'm going to walk a lot. So, but, you know, you're tired, your legs hurt. So,
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a great goal to try to hit a whole run on the half. I think that's admirable. So, but you know, I want to hear you. I know Chicago Marathon just got shut down for you, but you've been really focusing a lot on the long distance run training.
right. Like I mentioned, the Peloton, I've been using that Peloton app, and I really love it. I like it a lot. And we've been doing it for about 8 weeks now. And I mean, I feel a huge improvement. I mean, I could probably do a good Olympic distance and keep the run going. And there was a time I could do that pretty well, even back in when I started triathlon. But you know, all that time off, it's once you stop running, it's hard to get back into it, and it's really helped me out a lot.
So the Peloton app you're using is the run. It's not the bike.
They don't have any triathlon training on it that I'm aware of yet, but it's just a run. They have every distance. You may just go look at it one time, and all this they have everything from yoga to boot camps to any core post bike workouts. There's thousands of things you can do, and they have half marathon workouts, and it's a 12-week program for the full. So no, I'm sorry, 18-week program. So.
Well, good talking to you, because I didn't know they had a running app as well. I thought it was only a bike. The Peloton was only a cycle app.
They have everything. Check it out. It's great.
Do you need one of their own treadmills?
Do they have one for treadmills?
Do you need their treadmill?
No. I'd run outside with it.
Oh.
When I run outside, they I have it on my iPhone, and they have an app, the Peloton app, and you just bring it up and you run outside with it. They got music playing, and they're talking to you. So
cool. Cool. We'll check it out.
So when did you do your first triathlon, Rick?
December 2016, I did the HITS Sprint Triathlon. They had that, they have the weekend where they do the sprint and the Olympic on Saturday, and then they do the half and the full on Sunday. And that's when I got together with a group of friends that I've been friends with a long time now. Dave and Frank, especially Carrie. We've been doing Ironman triathlon since we did our Ironman together. Yeah, it was. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was really, really how scared I was. And I look back at it and I go, what was I scared of? And it's.
Well, one of the reasons you remember that, because that was a 53-degree swim, right? Your first triathlon, you went to Palm Springs in December.
And I couldn't swim.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's cold water.
I could doggy paddle really well, and then I doggy paddled for about 750 meters. So it was whatever it was. It was a long, cold swim. Let me tell you.
Wow. So then, what made you sign up for the next one, and what was the next one?
That's right.
I imagine the same for you guys when you started. It was like I got to do better than that. It's like or further than that. And that's why you go from sprint to Olympic. And after, I had some friends that went out there and did the Olympic right away. And we all started, it was our first race. And I was so terrified of the swim. If it wasn't for the swim, I would have probably jumped right into the Olympic. But I was like, man, I wish I could have done an Olympic. But like I said, I couldn't swim. And we trained from August to December. And I had paid coaches by the hour, like really good, coaches. What's that kids team? Sandpipers. I paid one of their coaches to coach me for 2 months. I just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get the breath right, and that it was a struggle from the first triathlon. I think the next one I did, it might have been club races, because that's when I joined the club, and I was on my back doing the backstroke after about 50 yards. Who got me out of that was Nancy. Like I said before, I think she was my first coach, and it was after I think it was one of the club races, and that's when I hired her. Before that, she's after the club race, meet me at the lake. We're gonna go for a swim. We went out there, and she said, I want you to swim to that buoy and back. And I went, all right, here I go. And I took off as fast as I could. And before I even got 5 strokes in, I hear her yelling at me to come back. And I come back, and she goes, what are you doing? And I said, I'm swimming. I'm trying to swim the buoy like you told me. And she goes, slow the fuck down. That's what she said to me. I started swearing. And I went, what do you mean slow down? It's a race. And she goes, it's a really long race, even a sprint. So what she had me do, and it changed my swim forever, honest to God. She said, I want you to exaggerate your swimming slow motion to that buoy and back. I mean, literally think about going slow motion. And I did. And it was, honest to God,
Yep.
I got in the pool after that, and I started swimming, and I slowed down, and I was like, oh, finally. So, and I did Sand Hollow was my next big race. And I completed that Olympic distance swim. I got out of that water in tears. I was so happy.
Wow, that's awesome.
You got out of the water. What? Say that again, Rick.
Tears. I was so excited that I finished without stopping. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it was pretty invigorating. So like I said, it was about a 10-month struggle for me in that swim. I wanted to quit so bad. So
No, and that's the milestone I think that most non-swimmers, I did for sure, hit, is the first time you can actually relax, slow down, and you're significantly faster.
yeah.
You know, whenever you slow down on the swim, you relax and you get balanced, and then all of a sudden, if you look at your time, you're faster than when you go out and struggle and roll over on your back. Yeah. So it's a journey. It's not a destination, like you said.
Right.
This whole thing has been a journey.
So when you got out of the swim at Sand Hollow, and I mean, that was already victory at that point.
Yeah, I quit. I just put my stuff away and went home.
Yeah. That's awesome. But then you know, how do you feel now with the swim?
You know, what's funny is I've been telling Ethan, I mean, that boy needs to hook me up and teach me a little bit of speed, but I have a lot of bad habits in my swim. I know I do. And if I could just get myself out of those, I think I can improve my distance. But since that time, that when I fight, it's just slow and steady, like Bob said. It's slow and steady, and you just get through it. And, you know, every half Ironman I've done has been between the 42 and 45 minute time. So
That's good.
I've not been improving. I'm just through it. So I'd like to improve.
Oh, that's great. Sorry, I just realized my mic was out there. No, that 40 to 45 minutes for a half that's a good time.
And then when I did my full, it was an hour and a half. So you know, my swim is very consistent. To say that, you know, it's slow. I mean, but there's a lot slower. There are a lot of people behind me. That's that's what matters. You know, so.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to someone new to triathlon who doesn't have that swim background? Because you've come a long way with that.
Go see Nancy.
There you go.
She's got a way to get in your head, you know. I love Nancy, but just be patient. Be patient, and it's not as, you know, people will hear swim, like I mentioned earlier. You know, when they told me the sprint distance that my friend Keith, he was like, you know, the sprint 750-meter swim, and I went, oh, I can swim. You don't realize you can't swim until you try to swim. You know, it's like everybody can probably, you know, swim to stay alive. You know, on their back, doggy paddle, things like that, or a little bit of a breaststroke. But when you're swimming to try to go fast, it's a totally different ball game. It's practice. Find your breathing is the biggest thing. Because if you're breathing too heavy, you're going to start hyperventilating, and that's what I did all the time. And most people probably experience that in the beginning. You just have to find your rhythm and your breathing cycle, and everybody's going to have their opinions, but slow down.
So where do you feel most comfortable during the triathlon now? Swim, bike, or run? Like, where do you say, oh, this is no problem at this stage?
Crossing the finish line.
Yeah, right.
When it's all over. You know, honestly, John, I mean, biking, it kind of just does itself. You know, you just pedal a bike and it moves for you. And so biking for me has always been my strong suit. And I'm not great at any of the three, but I think I still stink at hills. You know, I'm terrible at hills. But you know, no matter how tough it is, you know, I know you've done Oceanside, and those hills are no joke. And that was my first completed half. And you know, when 10 to 20, 30 people are walking their bikes up the hill, you know, I might not have been going fast, but I wasn't walking my bike up the hill, and that made me feel pretty good about myself. So I think I was doing about 2 miles an hour. And I told myself I wasn't going to stop pedaling.
Did you have anything planned for this year?
Well, Chicago's out, so St. George was my backup. the marathon that they're doing in October. I know,
That's
you know,
not been canceled yet.
no, say something about Utah. They've been doing their races. We did that nighttime half marathon. They didn't cancel that. That was a great race. We had a lot of fun up there. But something about running through the desert with a headlamp on. But you know, and some of the people in our little group were talking about doing Indian wells. I don't want to get back in that cold water again. I don't think they've canceled it, but you know, they probably will. But that's on my radar. I'm missing this. So every day I miss it a little bit more, and so really probably the first 70.3 that's within driving distance that becomes available, I'll probably jump on. I don't know. I'm just ready to get back at it.
I'm holding out for hits. You know, I'm hoping that they're going to hold it again. You know, the hits 70.3. I believe it's 1 week after IMAS. I'm pretty sure IMAS 70.3 is October 18th, and I think hits is the next weekend.
The beginning of December, right? It should be.
No, they moved it up
to October. Talk to Dave
Yeah,
Ellsworth. He did that one. He did the hits half, and he went right at it. You know, we all started training together. I think he got Pumpkin Man in beforehand, but you know, we started training August of 16, and Dave went right into the half marathon. I was just like, you were nuts. Wow. But he finished it. But he was also a runner, so.
Yeah, right. No, I think hits is going to be good. If they cancel IMAS 70.3 and they don't cancel hits, I think that'll be a nice one. I did the aqua bike this year, the 70.3, you know, without the run.
Right.
And the water was fine. It was great. It was, I don't know, mid 70s.
I don't know how that water gets so cold. It's in the desert. It's like it's really cold.
Well, hey, I want to hear about your Ironman Arizona that you did.
Which one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
great. So what made you go for the long distance at that point?
Well, I've already done, you know, some halves, and it was time. Like I said, you finish one distance, well, you gotta challenge yourself to the next one. And I remember Ryan Taylor, when he was doing VeloFix, that's how we met. I had brought him over to change a tire. Smartest thing I ever did. We're really, really good friends now. But you know, we're sitting in the back of his van. He's working on my bike, and we were contemplating doing the full. And he's like, "Let's do it. Let's just sign up and do it." And we're like, "Sure, let's do it." So a whole bunch of us signed up. I mean, you saw us all, you know, the group we were in, and it was a fun journey with all of them. So we're looking forward to the next one.
No, that's true. It is a journey, and you got to put the time in to get to that start line.
A long year. I mean, it's a long year for the, you know, it's a long race too. But there's no doubt about it.
Yeah. You know, I think this is going to help. I know it's going to help me because I'm recovering from some injuries, but I think a lot of people, if they just go out and do some riding and training and lower the intensity, and 2021 is going to be a killer year for the whole club because
right.
people are doing training, especially with you. You got such killer rides that you do. I'm looking forward to doing some of them coming up soon.
And riding at the base, you mentioned in Ellis, it's, you know, some complain. I remember Luigi goes, "This is too flat. You can't ride out there. It's too easy." And you know, Luigi just didn't like anything easy on me, so he's also a really good coach. But then I took him out there one time, and he really enjoyed it. I took him and Aaron, you know, Aaron, our club pro. You know, we all went out there riding, and there is a hill out there. And I told him, I said, "Luigi, there's a hill, and we'll go on the hill too." And I said, for me, you know, any hill is a challenge. Speed bump's a challenge for me. So we started going up this hill with Luigi, and Luigi goes, he's like flying up the hill, and I'm sweating and struggling. He goes, "Where's this hill?" I can't run it.
Yeah, no, I remember that hill. I mean, that's nothing to really, you know, sneeze at. That's a decent hill. It's kind of long too.
The one in Ellis?
Yeah. I went out there with you last year.
Right.
So
yeah, well, for him it wasn't. For him it wasn't big.
Yeah.
So.
He's from a different planet though.
Most of you are.
So, where are you swimming these days?
You know, I haven't been in the saline water, well, aside from my backyard pool, but you know, that pool I haven't been since before Santa Rosa last summer, and I hate swimming laps in a pool. But I've been out in the lake about 4 or 5 times now, and I love it. I love swimming out in the open water. I definitely need to work on my sighting again. You know, I've been lacking on that, and it showed on my last swim. But I felt really good. We went out, you know, Christina, I, and Jill, and we went out and swam, and 2,000 yards, I think we did. And, and I'm like, and I'm looking and going, man, I remember when 200 yards was impossible, and we just did a, you know, quick 2,000, and it was no big deal. But
no, that's a wonderful place. I like going out there myself. Can you make the Wednesday nights if we start those back up again?
it's
That's probably hard to get down there, isn't it?
you know, it is. You know, when you live on the very, very north end of the town, it's really hard. So it makes it a long night for me. So, but I'll try. To
How
get
about on
down
the
there.
weekends?
Weekends, definitely. You know, I think we've heard that. You guys probably heard that a lot. You know, can we get some weekend swims? And you know, the thing is people. You know, I always put on Facebook when I go out there. Whoever shows up, who does it, whatever. But most people do going out to the lake for a swim. I think that's awesome when people do that. You know, go join them.
Okay. Yeah, we'll probably do some Wednesday nights and then Saturday morning. We're going to look at that. We're
Right.
still trying to figure it out. But if we just post, hey, I'm going out there, let's go out and, you know, swim together.
Right.
Oh, and you always do a great job of getting people out. You know, I see the pictures of you folks training up there, and that's neat. So as you're pulling people into the sport, what advice do you like to give them?
It's hard, you know. Is just make sure it's what you want. And it's you know, I before we go out to Indian Springs, it's about 70-mile ride and back, and you know, it's funny. Dave and I and Frank were like, "What are we doing?" You know, it's like, "What, crazy?" And you know, we get out there, we do it, we finish, and we're like, "Okay, we're done." Fine. But it's hard. You know, it's got to be in your heart. Make goals. You know, sign up for a race. I know right now you can't, but every time I sign up for a race, you know, it kind of lit a little fire under my ass, and because I know I'm going to do it, you know, best I can, but I want to do better than that. And when I know I have a race coming up, I put in the extra work. You know, I pedal a little harder. I try to swim a little faster. But it's the same thing with just running events. You know, people just getting into running is when I started. You know, once I signed up for my first 5K, you know, I really worked harder. So 10K and on up. So
what drew you to Chicago Marathon? What was that?
You know what? I don't even remember what it was. Somebody. I've never done a marathon, and technically I still haven't. I know I've done an Ironman, but that was hardly a marathon for me. You know, that was it was a survival fest. It was, you know, you know, I'm not happy to mention, you know, I probably walked 13.1 of it, if not more, but you know, walked as fast as I could. But I want to get out and try to do a marathon. Plus, my wife, who's not doing triathlon, she's terrified of the water. She's into running now. Her and I have been doing this training together, so we, you know, which is great. You know, I always hated going out for bike rides. You know, those of us have spouses, and like John doesn't, of course. You know, your wife's an Ironman, but those of us that have spouses that don't do it know how hard it is. You know, I come home after you know, whatever 5 hours of training on a bike, and then go for a run and come back, and I'm exhausted. I want to rest, and my wife goes, "What are you doing? You got chores to do. Get around, you know, you went out and had fun with your friends. Don't act like you're tired." You know, it's just.
I got work for you, buddy.
Yeah, it's like that was your fun time. I'm like, but now she's running, and so we both got in on the lottery. Like I said, in 18?
Okay.
When I missed, 19, and that's when I got hurt, and both deferred to this year, and they just canceled again. So,
so you're originally from Pennsylvania. So was it the Chicago was that your roots that you were looking to go back that way?
No,
it was just.
I think I'm from Vegas now, John. Like I mentioned, I haven't been back in Vegas. Matter of fact, my dad retired Army there, so I really only lived there for 6 years. With all my teenage years, you know, where I got in trouble all the time, but you know, I still have friends there and things like that. But, you know, I went all high school and middle school, and I joined the Air Force and got out of town. I know I never really liked it there.
Yeah. Well, and thanks for your service, by the way. That's awesome. So then, all right. So 2020 is almost a wash this year. What's 2021 looking like? Are you setting your sights, or, you know, you said you need nice to have something on the calendar to light your fire. So any sights?
Our whole group is, our little group's gotten pretty big, but we're all talking about Sacramento doing the California, Ironman
Yeah.
California.
Yeah.
And I know Jill Ashworth, she's in a little group, and Christina haven't done a full yet. So that's the one we're pointing at, and registration was supposed to be this month, and I'm sure Ironman's doing they're pretty busy with all their legal battles, and we're all waiting patiently to sign up for that. So
That
there'll
one.
be a bunch in between that. So
Yeah, that one. I was looking at that one. That could be a nice one. So
We're going to have to put our heads together and come up with some sort of virtual racing for us, even if it's, swimming by Garmin, running by Strava, and cycling by, Garmin or Strava. I think we could do that. That would, have a couple of races coming up in the fall.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I told you what I think about virtual races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm not a big fan.
It's not
of
virtual. You're actually doing them.
Yeah. To me, the more people, the happier I am. That's why I like the Ironman events. There's so many people out there, and it's amazing. People you stop and talk to throughout the weekend, and people you get to know. The virtual races are fun. Like I said, they keep me busy. They keep me occupied. I'm a social bug. Everybody knows that.
I was just going to say, they don't have that social aspect to them. And
No, they don't. There's
that's
something
so
about running.
cool.
And I love my wife to death, and I don't watch this podcast, but I'm getting tired of running with her. I need more people to talk to. I already know anything about her, so. But and that's one of my downfalls actually during the big races, is especially during a run, which I'm just trying to muster through. I always end up talking to somebody and walk and talk, and not as bad as Crystal Taylor. That girl will stop after her race. She's got 20 friends. They're all crossing the finish line together. But
that's awesome. And Rick, I think you and I are on different ends of a personality spectrum, where you're more the extrovert, I'm more the introvert. But I think what you said in terms of missing the interactions at races is really something I've learned that I've missed that a lot.
Yeah.
And I like how you're making friends during these races.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't be. And Luigi hated it. He stopped talking. It was great. Luigi's a great coach because he's a hands-on coach, and he's always biking and running with you. And he made me, once I stopped doing a lot of running, when everything stopped, I lost a lot of it. But I was probably at my best running form when I was with Luigi, and it was funny because everybody knows I talk a lot. Okay, and those who don't know me, you will know. And Luigi knows I talk a lot, and the problem is I like to talk while we're running and biking, and obviously not swimming, but I remember he had us doing sprints or something like that. Well, by that point, I didn't have the ability to speak. I could barely breathe. He goes, I finally know how to shut you up.
The one thing about working out in different ways and different intensities, it's like we all have different values. It's like, just because one person is going to value being on the top of the podium, somebody else, we can like the social aspect and the training aspect as well as, as well as the performance aspect. And people have a little bit of all of that, but in different mixes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I respect your values.
Yeah, don't change, Rick, because
I want to get better, John. Come on.
Yeah, no, you obviously love it. You enjoy the races. It's always I enjoy always seeing you, in transition area and on the course, and you've always got a smile and words of encouragement. So don't change. It's awesome.
So, this is why you don't see my wife out there very often. She comes out once in a blue moon to cheer me on, but she hates it. Because when the race is over, I won't leave. I just want to sit around and talk with everybody. And she's always like, let's go. The race was over an hour ago, So she just doesn't go anymore.
Oh, no, that's great. Okay, so I told you we'd keep you for anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and I knew that this time would fly by. I feel like we've just barely even scratched the surface in talking with you. So, but this is really great.
We'll have to do a part 2.
Yeah.
No, this is great to get you on and chat with you. And the whole idea is just get members to know each other a little bit more. And you're really a very, you're one of the people that people see. and active. And your story is really important.
I appreciate
And
it.
I believe that the people who are now seeing that you're awesome to ride with, and we can get on the base, we're probably your group is gonna grow a little bit, because I'm looking forward to it. I'd like to go out to Indian Springs with you.
Come on, let's go. We're
Oh, yeah.
we do it quite a bit. I'll plan one. John, you and Laura, come on up and ride with us. It's a fun. It's a fast ride. Really, it's for you. It'd be really fast. Good because you're fast anyway. But it's there's nothing like no terrible climbs or get down an arrow and you can really fly on it. So.
Yeah, no, and you see, this is what you do. I mean, you really bring people along, and it's really neat. And I always say, that's the Vegas way. I mean, that's what we're doing, and you really epitomize that. And yes, you're very good at inviting me up. I'm super lazy getting up that way. I've got to get up there just to see it. So I'll do that. But I love seeing your group pictures. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop taking pictures and ride your bike.
Yeah.
All right, Rick. Well, Rick, this has been great. Thank you very much for being on our Las Vegas Triathlon Club member spotlight. And I will come up and join you for a ride. And I haven't done that Indian Springs ride, or you pick one out and I'll come up and do that with you. So it'll be fun.
Look forward to it. Tie a rope to your seat post.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks, Rick. And thanks everybody who is logging on and watching. I'm going to go ahead and stop Facebook live stream.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Rick. That was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Stop.